My name's Paul. I run a company called Jazz Mouse Productions. What do? We take things like you come to me with an idea and you say, I've always wanted to write a song, and I turn it into a CD. That's, in essence, what half of the company does. The other half, or say the top half of me, works as a professional saxophone player, and I tour the world working with such artists as Juan Martin, the Sid Lawrence Orchestra, the BBC Big Band. But I have a lovely crossover life that in a lot of these tasks I actually work as an engineer and I work as a musician. By the nature of what I do, it's a very social environment. Musicians are fairly gregarious social people. Most of the business that I do is invariably taken care of at lunches and in pubs, I believe. Not that I frequent these places too often. So I've got a couple of slides that are sort of just to go through. This is what we do. We do music production, post-production for film, live sound, and sax, and more sax. Go on, John. Thank you. These are some of the albums that we made in the last year. Some of them are more corporate than others. This one in particular is relevant to today, although you can't see it because of the lights. It's a charity album called Smile, which was recorded by a trumpet player called Adam Lindsley for the hospice that his mum died in last year. So let's get on to the meat of what we're talking about. Some pictures of me. That's me engineering. That's me playing the saxophone. That's some of the clients that we have. So I'd just like to conduct a quick social experiment. So introduce yourself to the person sat next to you. You can just say hello, shake hands. Very good. Very good. Okay, that's your time up to say hello. Exchange business cards, please. See. Okay, so you've all done that now. Congratulations, you have one new friend. So you've now achieved to make one person in your network. If, when I stop, you all change seats and do it again, you'll have made one more new friend. If you change this after every presentation, you'll all be here till 9 o'clock tonight, but you sort of get the idea of what I'm making. It's a very...
What we'll do is we'll remove a seat each time.
Yeah, it's a very laborious process. So that one, MySpace, so that's what, 4 or 5 networking sites, LinkedIn, it goes up there. The good old-fashioned email. It took me a long while to get my head around this concept that I had something I could send to people that wasn't just there for people to mysteriously find. We just rolled out the new website and my new web shop this year in February, and we sent out a manageable 65 emails with that newsletter I showed you. And out of those 65 emails that I sent out, I've had 5 confirmed purchases from the web shop. And these are packages including microsites, one of which is the BBC Big Band. So it's a lot of what Graham was saying, that I can sort of testify to that you have to put some effort in to do this, but once you get a system and you get it up and running, you can actually get an awful lot of benefit from it. So you're all sat there saying, well, that's great. He's obviously very young, talented, good-looking. He obviously has plenty of time to spend on the internet doing all of these things. But, you know, I'm far too busy to do this. I'm a Buddhist. We have a great phrase in Buddhism that says, if you think your glass is overflowing, you just need a bigger glass. And this is sort of key to a lot of this. As Graham said, it is networking. And you have to put time into this. I've spent 2 years developing the web shop with various companies to try and take care of the back office part and all of this. And it's all been a sort of dedicated campaign, because for the music business, certainly downloading media is the future. Nobody's buying CDs anymore. Within 5 years, you won't be playing DVDs anymore. You'll be streaming it directly to your TV or to your Palm Top or whatever you actually have with you. So to not get into the online market now is foolish, in my opinion. I'm happy to argue that point later with anybody. But yes, in the bar, obviously, where we'll talk about how brilliant I am again. So that's pretty much, I think if you don't do it, then you need to find the time to. Just to back it up, this is to show you the difference that newsletters make. February, the site went live, and there's about 300 and so visits, in March is the full month with newsletters, and there's over 1,000 visits, 318 over 1,005. And you can see the dates that I publish newsletters are the huge spikes. So actually giving or putting out this content makes a phenomenal difference to your online presence. As John said, the little robots come out and find out what they need to know. But without this continual refreshing content, without you actually working your website, it will do nothing for you whatsoever. Has it generated work? Yep. So far, this year, and this is this year alone, 2 hypnotists and 3 bands have all asked to do recordings, and I'm about halfway through all of that. Also, I've not had a day off since the 30th of January. Those of you who are time management gurus, I might need to speak to you later. But in the current climate, I'm delighted with the way that the business is going, and this is very much part of my business. So. The most important thing that it gives me is presence. As Graham said, when people now go in and search, I'm slowly becoming the UK's sort of featured big band mixing engineer. It sounds like a niche market, but it keeps me in trousers, almost. But I've just completed an album yesterday with Keith Mansfield. Those of you who don't know Keith Mansfield, he wrote the Wimbledon theme tune, the Grandstand theme tune. And those of you who are jazz fans, he was Maynard Ferguson's producer for 4 years. This is a man who's a huge icon in the music business, and he asked me to produce an album for him last week, which we completed about 10 o'clock last night. So, and his big thing was that I've done some research on you, and I like what I see. There's a lot of people saying very nice things about you, exactly as was alluded to earlier. And that wouldn't have happened without social networking sites like Facebook and MySpace and the ability for people to see what it is that I do and hear what I do. So it's been very useful for that. The web shop, as I mentioned earlier, has just gone live. This is very exciting because, as John and I have discovered, it's not just open to musicians. With the nature of digital media, we can see this being open to all sorts of people, artists, photographers. We've just had a couple of meetings with photographers this month about creating libraries of pictures for exactly a presentation like this for people who need library pictures. You can trawl all you want online, but if you know there's one specific space that's dedicated to high quality pictures that you can just download at the click of a button, and it's yours to keep then royalty free, even better. How are we going to do sculptures online yet? And so what is it, who is the next customer for me? Well, hopefully it's one of you. But if it's not, hopefully you'll now go and talk to people about the short, fat, hairy hippie who came and spoke to you at the event in Windsor at the fire station where the phone went off and the laptop didn't work, and all of these things you'll remember. So why should you do it? Because if you don't, everyone else is. Oh, and there you go. So thank you, and that's me. Thank you very much.
Okay, that's Paul Fawcus, and do we have some questions for Mr. Fawcus himself?
How much time would you say you spend on these network sites and marketing yourself online a week?
On an average week, I think that's a difficult question to answer. I have a dedicated office day on a Monday, which is something that came through some of the courses, being self-employed and being in the creative arts. It's very absorbing. For example, yesterday I went into the studio at 10 o'clock and I didn't leave till 10 o'clock at night. We're mixing an album, I can't answer the telephone, I can't be online. But on an average day, I have one of these fancy phones and I can be on Facebook. Every time we're bouncing a track down, I've got 5 minutes, I can post up a link, I can do all this thing. It's the accessibility and the speed of it, the same with John's thing. I'm not a web designer, but all the things you've seen I've created just by creating text. The actual time it takes me to do the newsletter and put it up there, I know I can do the whole lot in 2 hours and have it on every blog. But some days I might only be able to do 20 minutes a day in various breaks and things. It all depends how busy I am. The beauty is that I can do it anywhere. I can be anywhere in the world, and with my laptop and Wi-Fi, you can still function, and I can still create my newsletter and post it up there. So I think I create the time to do it around what I do. If I had a set office hour and my business was different, then that would be an easier question to answer. But I think the simple answer is I find time to do it.